ends the Cypher. Prepare for another all-nighter.
On the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. NFL Talk on the Sports Cypher.
Welcome back to the Sports Cypher with Maya Kai and Faruq Basir. And pretty much we just wrapped up several weeks of NFL around the league with the NFC North. Courtesy of Justin Rogers of MLive.com, kind of broke down the NFC North for us with some interesting insight. Like you said, it's always good to get that outside perspective. And since we have some time left, I guess another big news story coming out this week with the NFL was that the concussion lawsuit has finally been settled. A whopping a good amount of money, $765 million. And there were roughly 4,500 complainants in that lawsuit.
They wanted $2 billion, though. I'm looking at the story that SI put out a few hours ago. They only got less than half of what they wanted.
Which, they always say you start high because you're not going to get exactly what you ask for. So they're saying that obviously this is going to go towards medical bills, compensation to people with families, some research stuff. So there's a lot going into this, and I'm glad eventually this has been settled because it was something that I think, especially for former players, where they're now finding that. With the death of Dave Dorison and Junior Seau, and they're looking at encephalopathy being a large part of this that comes from concussions, this was something that needed to be done. So I'm glad they found some middle ground. Whether the monetary amount is right or wrong, we'll never really know. I think the next step to this whole point is how can they possibly make this safer?
Yeah, that. But there's you really aren't gonna be able to find out if any of the injuries. They're saying there's some stuff that won't be released as far as what injuries, how injuries occurred, and things like that. You won't be able to really find out if that had anything related to this settlement here.
Well, that's why the reason. One way I look at it, it's almost sort of like $765 million of hush money.
Yeah.
For NFL owners, because just like what you just said, Faruq. A lot of the information, and I don't want to say evidence, but a lot of information that was going to come out that went to court or really got into it heatedly, it would have been exposed. So now the NFL has been able to basically just pay off the players and have this go away. Now, I did read that all the players that was on the initial lawsuit, they would have to sign off and get this money. They can still pursue this and go further in court
individually,
if they want to. So that'd be one thing that'd be kind of interesting to see which players don't.
Well, also the legal fees are incorporated in this too.
Right. So the NFL actually came out spending close to $1 billion.
Right. Outside of them getting the settlement, NFL is also taking care of the legal fees as well. So obviously that leaves more money in the pot to be distributed between the 4,500 complaints. It's interesting because. I mean, they know from at least a good portion of the evidence they used to come to the conclusion that there was enough evidence, especially with living players, that things as far as, dementia, Alzheimer's, a bunch of different things they could tie to concussions, probably without even getting into the likes of Dave Dorison or even Junior Seau and suicide. Without even compounding it with that, there was enough people still alive that were having a lot of medical issues.
Jim
McMahon, who said that he suffers from dementia, at times has been suicidal, a lot of different things is going on with him. So I think definitely, even if you didn't dig into a lot of the cases, enough of the evidence that was presented definitely led down the path of concussions, lead to this type of medical issues. But here's the other side, which is interesting, and I'm not sure how big you can make the price tag. At some point of time, yes, the NFL knew the concussions, and I think this was part of the thing that was kind of the nail in the coffin. They had some research they had that kind of alluded to the fact that concussions could lead to some of these things and didn't act on it in a proper time frame. But there's also that duration of time that nobody probably ever really thought about it either until medical cases start coming up and, more players were making complaints. It's just they didn't act probably in a timely manner. So I do agree. The NFL definitely probably got off cheap with this one. But at the same time, what can former players really do? Because a lot of them are in financial straits where they need these resources to be able to get treatment.
And that leads to my next question. How is this money going to be, paid out? Are they going to give these guys, has anybody done the math on this? How does this divvy up between those players?
I think each player get close to over $100,000.
It was almost 150. I think I saw 147,000 is one of the articles I had read. It says what each person was going to get, which is obviously it can't change your health, but it can probably make a difference to a degree.
Yeah, that's a couple of surgeries or something.
Well, no,
not surgeries, but a couple.
Care.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
And I'd like to know if somewhere written in there too, is there any kind of insurance, kind of compensation for them? Because obviously it'd be great to have insurance that you could use for the care you need and not have to use that $147,000 to pay for medical bills.
That's true.
So it'd be nice. To me, the better deal, which we haven't seen the full extent of what the full settlement is there medical insurance going to cover any care or surgeries they need moving forward? And that money clearly this is for the inconvenience and inconsideration that we were as your former employer. That's what that money to me should be saying. You shouldn't have to spend that on a single medical bill, because if you do, trust me, that money will be gone just like that.
Right, and that's why I brought back to the point of to the fact that I wonder who might not sign off on this and might look at it like that. Like, you know what? Yeah, you give me $155,000, but based off the insurance and some surgery and some care, that's going to be gone in 2 years. What did I really gain?
Maybe sooner.
Because
what did I really gain?
Healthcare is astronomical,
yes.
and the kind of care that they require, everything from not just medical services but also mental health services, that money will be gone really fast. So I'm hoping that somewhere in the settlement is built insurance for future care.
Here's a twist I want to throw out to everybody. Mind you saying, how much does this really cost? But look at the bigger picture. We were just talking about this last week, and it's been everywhere. The amount of youth football is at an all-time low in America. And now parents know, and Faruq, you said this before, you didn't really want your son to play football. Has this really made a bigger impact on just the game itself, Just concussions, parents are very weary of how the kids playing. Them reading the story, checking out this lawsuit, does it really put a second thought into him having his sons play football?
I think you're going to have some parents that are just going to roll with this, that they're not going to stop their sons from playing football. They're not, especially if that's all they know, if that's what their desire is.
Because it's a meal ticket. They see it as a meal ticket.
I was really trying not to say that.
But that's what they do.
It is a meal ticket.
That's a way
because understand, this is what I'm waiting for next. That a lot of deviant behavior that you tend to see, I'm waiting for this correlation to happen. Deviant behavior in NFL players, as you've seen through college and into the pros, is tied to the fact that they're in such an aggressive sport, and perhaps they've experienced concussions that maybe weren't treated. So now we already know there are mental health issues that are also tied to the actual medical part of it. I'm waiting for someone to do a study, because did we not say, why is it that the NFL seems to have more players that have issues? That's why there's a police blotter.
It's a violent game, and these are violent men. So two to two usually go together, and they take it off the field and take it home. But I just think, as we say, this meal ticket, this meal ticket is there, but that meal ticket, like you said, across the country, as far as kids playing football, is kind of drying up.
Yeah, because people are doing the research on this now.
Right.
They're weighing the options of their kid doing this. But there's some, barbaric people that really don't care.
You always want to have those, though.
Yeah, because they see it as, this is the only way. They're so narrow-minded and stupid that they see this as the only way their kid can succeed.
And not